All right. Hey, everybody, it's time for our review of the Bourne Stuntacular.
Yeah.
The show we were absolutely certain, at least I was going to be the review of how terrible it is, but
It wasn't. It was not. It was great.
it's surprisingly good.
Yes, it really is. I did not expect much from it, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's a good replacement for Terminator.
And the reason I didn't do this as a stream is because we're going to go into some spoilers, and right now it's a technical rehearsal. So if you don't want to have the experience spoiled, don't watch the rest of the video. There's plenty of other stuff on this channel that are good. That's good. And you know what? When you finally do get to see the show, the video will still be there.
Yes.
So that's the warning. It's also probably in the title.
Yes.
So one of the first things you'll notice is a very, very large LED screen.
Yeah,
Huge.
Well, let's talk before we get back to the giant screen. It uses the same cue/line as Terminator. So if you remember that line for him, it's kind of about the same. And there's really no special reasoning or anything there.
It's I guess it's helpful as a budget thing, but the theming kind of works with Cyberdyne, so it's definitely different, but in a lot of ways it's the same layout, and some of the elements are still kind of there.
Yeah, I mean you have the pre-show. The pre-show's pretty almost the same, but not really. There's a gigantic screen in front of where they would do the pre-show for Terminator. But what it lacks in pre-show and line makes up for as a pretty friggin' awesome show.
There's no actor in the pre-show like it was before, which was super, but the pre-show not so great. And right now during the COVID, the pre-show is actually being held in the queue. The screens that you see, they used to be for Terminator 2, where they had like the security footage of someone like in the queue, like opening a door out of curiosity, and like alarm went off, and like personnel would drag that guest away. Like those screens are still there, but for now, that's where the pre-show is happening, in the queue, and then you just walk right through the actual pre-show area.
That's good. I haven't been fully there since the soft opening now, but yeah, that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, the pre-show quality isn't really the best part of the show, so it being on a smaller screen makes it a little easier to watch.
It's not so super.
No.
But as we said already, what makes up for the pre-show makes up for the actual show.
Yeah. And if you're wondering why I'm using this microphone, it's very noisy around here. It blocks the rest of the noise very well.
Yes,
so
we have noise there. We have noise behind us. Somewhere back here, there's screaming going on. So that's what we have to work with.
And that's also why we're in Toon Lagoon instead of, technically Marvel, but you see Toon Lagoon.
Yeah.
Just because, it's easier to shoot here and no one's around. Anyway, so once you get in the theater, it's very similar to what Terminator 2 was. In fact, the back wall is pretty much the same. They never took that out during the construction.
They didn't do much of anything in the back there, but the front is noticeably different.
Yeah, there's a few places where the robots used to show up that there's a little bit less room, and then the stage is a little bit different as well. But that's pretty much all I can say about that without actually getting into the show. So.
Well, I mean, we go back when you first come in. It's this gigantic wall that you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah. We're like, oh great, another ride with a screen.
Yes, but it's different. It's
Yeah.
completely different. You want to talk more about that?
Well, first, I'll get to it later. So, it's basically a virtual background, very similar to what they did in the Mandalorian, I believe.
Mandalorian, Galaxy's Edge with Rise of the Resistance.
Which I wouldn't know because I haven't seen it.
It's very in Rise of the Resistance. It's used very, very subtly, but for Bourne, it's more upfront.
Yeah, it is definitely not subtle.
No.
But one of the things that we wondered about is why was the theater modified, and it's still a show, but there's it's a little bit like the American Adventure, where there's set pieces that come up and go down and then change out a lot, and the set pieces interact with what's on the screen, which is pretty amazing, and even spins around, so you feel like you are moving around the set pieces, which is pretty cool.
It gives it a cinematography type of you're watching Jason Bourne walk through a town, and then he's walking up a bell tower, and you're spinning with him as you're just looking around this virtual area, and it's amazing to see what is going on the screen, react with the physical set and the actor, and especially the beginning, you can't tell who's real and who's fake.
When I saw the Today Show came and did a small piece on it, and when I was watching it just on the screen, I thought they had a whole big cast behind them, and then the screen went off, and I realized most of the people weren't even there.
Yeah.
It's that believable. And in person, the first time I saw it, I kind of got lost a couple of times. I'm like, wait, is that the screen, or is it an actual person?
You don't know where the screen ends and the action begins, and that is the main thing that they're saying about this show, that you don't know where the action begins and screen ends.
And if you remember the Terminator 2 show, when they blew apart the T-1000 and the water sprayed down from the ceiling, it still happens twice now. I'm not sure if it ties in very well, but
no, it just works now, especially since it's a different type of show, different actions are happening, which still works, especially that part with how they're shooting the whole entire place up.
Yeah.
A lot more I would say there's a lot more gunplay in this than there were in Terminator.
Yeah, there's only a few shots and then the shotgun, but there's a lot more gunfire. I remember from when I was in the gift shop before it opened, hearing wow, that's a lot of caps going off.
A lot of caps, a lot of explosions, a lot of CO2 going off, lots of lasers, whatnot.
Yeah. And right now they said they're not doing the fire effects. I don't remember where the fire effects were, but they're still.
At the end.
Yeah.
There's fire effects at the end there, but apparently they're not using them right now.
It might be because it's in rehearsal. I don't know, but
we will retain that it is in rehearsal. So what you see today or tomorrow or whenever you come see the soft opening or rehearsal, you might not see the same things, or you might see something different. Who knows?
And if you're wondering, because I am, there's at least one Easter egg from Terminator 2 in the show that I know of, and that is, well, there's kind of two. One of them is there's a console that a woman stands at who looks.
Or a man. It really. They switch roles a lot.
Yeah.
It's very, depending on when you watch it, there might be a man as like the main person or female. They have scenes to switch it to different casts.
When I was watching, it was mostly a woman in a business suit, very, very similar to Terminator 2, and it's not the same, but it's the console with the screens around looks a lot like where the operator used to stand for the Terminator 2 show. Also, there's a scene where there's a coffee shop, and it's called Connor's Coffee, as in Sarah Connor and John Connor. So there's that too. Those are the two that I know of.
Yeah, that was just the only two that I know of, especially the console part from Terminator. I really haven't found any other ones. Maybe there's some Fast and Furious reference in there. I know there's a lot of car action. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot to go on with that show. Like
the stunt work that the actual people do in a theater is really amazing. It's as good as I think you would see in a movie.
It kind of makes it seem like a jokey, like Stuntacular makes it seem jokey, but honestly, like they could have just not used the Stuntacular name and just called it Jason Bourne or Bourne, and people would be like, I think like it. I know there's a lot of people online right now that are like, oh, it's not as good and Fast and Furious, this is better. I mean, you're comparing a ride to a show, and this is probably one of the better shows in these two parks now.
Beyond those two parks, and anywhere really. I still don't know why they went with Jason Bourne, but it is a shockingly amazing show. Like I said, the stunt work is really good. It's almost so good that I like stop paying attention as much because it just looks like you're watching a movie.
A lot of the action, it's just like, wow, what are they doing? What? Yeah. That man jumped into a pool and he's being drowned right now, like.
Yeah. Or a lot of the gunplay and actual, like, it looks like they're hitting pretty hard, which is a pretty easy trick to do when you're shooting with a camera and have a single point of reference to frame it. But you can see it from all over in the audience, and it looks realistic.
All different angles. I mean, depending on where you sit in the theater, some things don't seem to work as much. I remember my first or second time I went to go see it, I was more of on the left side of the theater all the way to the edge, and the one scene where the guys come in with the helicopters right at the hotel room or whatever, that didn't seem very realistic to me, but once I moved over a little bit, it really depends on where you're at in the theater, even though it still looks amazing anywhere you sit in the theater.
Yeah, I saw it a couple days ago, and I was all the way in the back far corner of the show. I'm like, well, I kind of wanted to sit closer than that, but oh well. But it's still an amazing experience even from back there.
Yes, it's a very good show. Highly recommend you don't miss out on this. Go for yourself. Make your own opinions. Don't let people online tell you what you should think about that ride or attraction. We really like it. I suggest you just go.
And the thing is that I expected to hate it, so like that's got to be a good show when you're like, this is going to be terrible, and like now I'm talking about how great it is. All the reviews I've seen though have been like amazing, great.
I've only seen a few negative reviews. I think they were joking. Hopefully they were joking, or they don't really have a taste in anything. Um, yeah, I think it's one of the best shows Universal has put on. Much better than some of the street shows. It really lives up to being Terminator 2. It was going to be a hard one to begin with to replace it. But what they did really surpassed my aspirations, expectations. Again, I was gonna hate. I heard Bourne. I have Facebook feeds somewhere saying that, oh, this is fantastic. Shake my head. I wish they did that. Did something else. Or as one person put it, they should just have Shrek come and beat every single one in the audience. That would be more entertaining than Jason Bourne. Yeah, that would be entertaining. But this is much, much better than I expected.
Do you think there's a possibility we'll see this show going on during Halloween Horror Nights, being it's so new?
It really depends. Right now we're kind of in a limbo with a lot of different things going forward here.
Is it usually whenever they open a new show or attraction in USF, that's generally available during Halloween Horror Nights, but it's usually for rides. I don't know if they don't really do shows during Halloween Horror Nights. Even the Beetlejuice show didn't. Well, actually, at one point it did, but later in its run, they didn't run it.
I don't think they did Terminator at all during HHN. They did? Way back.
There was a time when they did, when it was like early Halloween Horror Nights. Just like some year, they used to do the Beetlejuice show, which seems to make sense for a Halloween Horror Nights, but later years they didn't for some reason. So we'll see.
We'll see, because there's a lot of unknowns going on right now. HHN happened. Who knows? Fingers crossed. There's a lot of speculation going on that I really would like to see happen this year.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have a couple months from now, so I'm hoping things get better. Hopefully these won't be a thing.
Now all the performers are wearing face coverings, but they did a really good job of making it part of their character and their costume, and you don't even notice them.
I was gonna mention that. I forgot to, but I'm glad you actually mentioned that.
Because a lot of them wear bandanas, and they're kind of like, gang members or, something like that, who probably might wear a bandana. It kind of fits in, so it's not obvious. It's not like they're wearing a face covering with Universal on it.
So you mean they're not like Scooby-Doo and the gang right now, that you can see obviously they're wearing face coverings.
I was also in the back of the theater, so it's harder to see.
I will have to probably go sometime very shortly to go see it again and again, because I will be going to see this kind of multiple times, especially since that is another show in Hollywood to go to finally. A show.
Well, it's horror makeup.
Well, yeah, there's horror makeup.
But I also noticed that the CG, the backgrounds, seemed like it was a very similar style to Fast and Furious and Race to New York, except without. Oh, I did not put my windscreen on here. Great. Except without all the crazy lack of physics, things that don't move like they're supposed to. For the most part, there might be like, if you look at it, you might say, well, this cop car might not move in this direction, but it's not like outrageously stupid stuff like you see in Race to New York.
Or Fast and Furious, where You have so many ridiculous movements and everything. Or my favorite, and I beg people, when you go on Hagrid's motorbike adventure, watch Hagrid's arm clip right into his body. His arm clips right into his body because it's all CGI, and his face is the only live action. It's funny because we let this happen. Universal let this happen, but Hagrid lifts his arms up and it just folds right into his body. It's great. My favorite Easter egg on that right now, unless they change it in a couple weeks, but it's been a year. Yeah. It's not going to change.
I still haven't seen it because the only time I've gone through the queue, the little showroom is usually closed.
So I assume, since you said that the pre-show happened in the line more than, so I assume pre-show is done with that, because the pre-show for E.T. isn't going on right now either.
I think the reason why they do it in line is because it can be more socially distant in the line, and there you have screens, and you're in that room, people are going to naturally go towards the screen to see it better. And then there's not social distancing.
Yeah, that is a big thing right now. Big thing right now is and everything. So
these aren't masks; they're face coverings.
They're face coverings.
That way,
not masks.
By the time we get to Halloween Horror Nights, people won't say, "Oh, it says no masks, so I'm going to take this off." Oh, sir, it's a face covering.
No. That might be one of those things that. Hey, we can't. You said no face masks. I'm taking this off. You never know. You never know.
So we're now getting to guess. Anyway, now I'm just speculating and like, wait, is that investigations coming for me? Oh,
no,
we better go.
It's not the investigations.
Oh, this is Channel 2 again.
It's Channel 2.
All right, so this is getting really long. Getting long. So, thanks for watching the review. The 5% of you are still watching.
Yes, and soon to be coming back, I guess. We're going to be coming back doing more live streams. Yeah. We would have done more during this break, but hey.
There really wasn't much to talk about. That wasn't speculation, and I didn't want to do speculation. So
we don't want to do more speculation. We just want to give very good information.
Accurate,
unbiased information.
So thanks for watching this video all the way through, and please exit through the gift shop as we hear the Popeye music 100,000 times. But you probably won't hear it on, because this microphone will only pick us up.
You don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. All right.